compared to any other gemstone, there's nothing like it. They're grown hundreds of miles below the Earth's surface. They're grown billions of years ago, close to the age of the Earth itself.
Hi, I'm Kristi Widmar from Rasmussen Diamonds, and I'm here today with my sister Katrina Sustachek.
Hello.
Rasmussen Diamonds has been in Racine since 1900. We're the oldest retail business in the city, and it's been in our family since the 70s. So there are 5 children in our family, and Katrina and I really were the 2 that kind of stuck with this business for lots of years. And Katrina is, I jokingly say, my walking, talking gemological encyclopedia. But you know, growing up in the business, we obviously learned a lot early on. And then when Trina went to school for the Gemological Institute of America in Carlsbad, right after she graduated, they actually asked her to come on and become a trainer for the Gemological Institute of America. So she taught gemology all over the country, in other countries as well. She taught people how to be gemologists. And so really, we're gonna do a series of podcasts today with my sister, and we may have other guests with us. And really, there's no better person that I could have lead us through the topic of diamonds today.
Good start.
It's a good start. So, I mean, diamonds are, people come into us for lots of things, but number one, it's pretty much diamonds.
It's in our name.
It's in our name.
Rasmussen Diamonds.
So, you know, they come to us for diamonds for a lot of reasons, but I think especially for that diamond engagement ring, diamond wedding ring. So, you know, the first question is, why diamonds? Why are they the symbol for all of this?
Well, I used to ask myself that question when I was younger too, and one of the things that I learned as I went through my gemological education is that diamonds are unique. Compared to any other gemstone, there's nothing like it. They're grown hundreds of miles below the Earth's surface. They're grown billions of years ago, close to the age of the Earth itself. And when they come to the surface of the Earth, it takes very unique volcanic reactions to bring them to the surface. And for us to even find them is a unique factor. So it's like a whole perfect storm coming together to be able to find natural diamonds. And it really makes them stand apart from all other gemstones. If you also look back at the history of diamonds, you can look at the name, the history of its name. The word diamond comes from the Greek root adamus, which basically means unbreakable. And that's really what the symbolism behind a diamond, especially when you're giving it as an engagement ring, is that your love is unbreakable. And it's a pretty powerful communication if you're giving a diamond. And that's one of the reasons why they, to this day, will stand the test of time. And it's another thing that you can hand down from generation to generation to generation, and it will be able to be something that will be part of your heritage.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the things that you and I specifically really loved about our business and growing up in it, is that it's really almost a means of communication. I mean, we get people that come into us for every special moment in their life, and the fact that we can be a part of that and, you know, help them to say the words that are coming from their heart that we don't always know how to, you know, get out into the air is pretty cool,
Yeah.
I think.
Diamonds are like a nonverbal, tangible form of communication. It says something to the person you're giving it to. It says something about yourself. It's really can be a very powerful form of communication. And even historically, we can look at the fact that we can even identify graves of, say, for instance, ancient royalty just based on the fact that they're adorned with jewelry and diamonds and things like that, gold especially. So
Yes.
Diamonds really speak to our human history too.
A lot of history, for sure. And we've seen a lot of trends over the years. Obviously, right now, one of the big trends that we're seeing in the industry is that we're getting diamonds that are not mined necessarily from the earth. So before we touch on that, tell me a little bit about how they're mined from the earth, and, you know, how did we even come by getting these diamonds?
Well, when they were first discovered, the diamond is an octahedral shape, so it looks kind of like 2 pyramids joined at the base. It's kind of a beautiful little crystal is really what it was. It took a long time before we even figured out how to unlock the cutting aspect of diamonds. But then once diamonds were discovered, we realized the deposits they were found in. And we realized that they were going to be found in ancient volcanoes, if you will. But we also find some of them that are washed down riverbeds and streams, even in the ocean we find them. So they're all over the place, they're all over the earth. But when we find a possible source for diamonds, the important thing that we need to remember is that if we're going to try to excavate that source, is it going to be worth our while? Because a diamond production in the earth can be millions to billions of dollars. So if we're putting that into it, we need to be able to get it out of it. And diamonds are becoming more and more rare these days because at this point in time, most of the diamond mines, especially the ones in South Africa, are getting close to being 100 years old. And a diamond mine that's viable is pretty much about 100 years is when we expect to see it kind of leveling out. The Australia diamond mine that was found in the 1960s to began mining in the 1980s is closed as of last year because they're not getting enough diamonds coming out of the earth. So they're becoming an actual rarer substance at this point in time.
They're not getting that return on investment on that
No,
one
we're
any
not.
longer.
Yeah, they can be found in a lot of places, but you really have to know if you're going to be able to excavate enough of them to be able to make it worth your while.
So there is a little place, what is that, Diamond Crater?
Yes, I think that's pretty cool. I got a chance to go there for the first time ever last year. I can't believe I've been in the industry so long, but it's a Diamond Crater National State Park in Arkansas, where you can actually go and dig in the field and see if you can find a diamond. And they still find diamonds from time to time, but most of the ones that are found are quite small. Even the real notable ones from that area are not that big in comparison to others. People speculate that if they actually turned it into a full-on diamond mine, not just a state park, that they might get a little bit more, but probably not enough.
It wouldn't be worth it. That's interesting. So then, of course, we've maybe gone to the idea of creating them then in a lab. But you were saying how difficult some of these diamonds are to actually get to the earth. And we know that they take a tremendous amount of heat and pressure for a diamond to even form. So how exactly are they creating these then in the laboratory?
Well,
are they the same?
They are, actually. Scientifically, diamonds that are created in a laboratory are essentially the same chemically, physically, and optically. There are subtle differences, and it's based on their growth, their rapid growth, because they believe diamonds took millions of years to grow, and then, of course, a million-plus-year journey to us. But when it comes to the lab-grown diamonds, they can be grown in a matter of weeks to months. There's two different main processes. When they first discovered that they wanted to try to lab-grow diamonds, it was really designed to be for industrial purposes, and that was in the 1950s. GE was one of the first. They're using machines that are similar to the size of a nuclear reactor at first. Now, they've gotten a little bit smaller, but they're not very small still. Maybe they might take up the size of this room at the moment. Wow. That's the high pressure, high temperature, which is basically creating a diamond similar to the way it's grown in the earth with extremely high pressure and high temperature. They have to use a seed crystal of a natural or a lab-grown diamond to begin the process.
Okay.
So that's what happened basically in the 1950s. In the 1980s, we started to actually see them being grown for commercial purposes for the jewelry industry. But most people don't realize that as diamonds come out of the earth, 80% of the diamonds that come out of the earth are industrial quality diamonds. Only about 20% are used in jewelry. So that industrial diamonds, there are many, many uses throughout the world. So industrial diamonds were the first. Then we came up to diamonds in the 80s that were commercially grown, and they really weren't that viable because when you have a lab-grown alternative, it should be significantly less expensive than the natural. And they were so expensive to grow initially that they just really weren't worth making them on a large scale. Well, technology has advanced.
Definitely.
And what has happened in the last couple of years is we are now seeing diamonds that are able to be grown a lot quicker and commercially available. But they're still about half the price, depending upon where, sometimes a little bit above, sometimes a little bit below, of the natural counterpart. Are the prices going down? Yes, as technology improves. I mean, think about your iPhone. Do the prices go down as soon as a new one comes out and new technology has improved? That would be a good example there. So we're going to see what the future brings because this rapid expansion of technology is really changing things. This chemical vapor deposition is the other process, and I kind of like the origins of this because some of the original reasons for using it was to chemically coat or coat the space shuttle windows with diamond. and it was very
Really?
microns thick layer of
I learn
diamond.
something from
Yeah.
her all the time.
So when that happened, they didn't think they could actually grow diamonds large enough to put in a piece of jewelry and everything. But at this point in time, it's grown similar to that of a microwave. It takes a very short amount of time, and it's just grown layer by layer until it comes up to thick enough layers that you get wafers of diamonds, and you can get pretty decent sizes at this point. But bear in mind, this is science and technology, which is very cool, but it's not in the same rarity factor as a natural diamond at this point in time. It's not allowing nature to bring all that perfect storm together. It's us controlling that.
And I understand that it is always being kind of marketed as an eco-friendly option, but that doesn't really sound all that eco-friendly when you are telling me what the size of these things are and with the amount of heat and pressure that you need.
Yeah.
If they're grown in a factory, that makes me question, why would we even be concerned about that? Is mining diamonds even an issue in terms of the environment?
I think that for sales purposes, I think their marketing teams are great. I'll be honest with that. I think that when it comes to growing diamonds, we don't see necessarily the entire picture of lab-grown diamonds versus natural-grown diamonds. And if we really put them side by side, they each have their own issues. I'm not going to tell you they don't. But when it comes to natural diamonds, I do encourage people to look at the good that they do in the world. And yes, they use industrial-sized machines, but when they're done, you fill the hole in and you're done. You plant some crops around the area, and that is how a diamond mine kind of ends. But most of the lab-grown diamonds are grown in very industrial machinery, and there are a lot of fossil fuels that are used for this and so on. So it really depends. A lot of companies are trying to buy carbon offsets to create a bit more of a neutral footprint. Each company is a little bit individual, and I suggest if you're considering one of the two and environmental friendliness is important to you, I'd say do your research. A couple of things that I'll point out to you if you'd like. Only Natural Diamonds by the Natural Diamond Council talks about different countries and how they are benefited by the natural diamond industry. I always like to use the example of the country of Botswana. Before diamonds were discovered in Botswana, that was one of the poorest countries on the earth. And it is now a moderately wealthy country at this point in time because of diamonds. Every single child within that country gets free education up to the age of 13. It is a very It's a very forward-thinking country in terms of gender equality. There are a lot of women that are very involved in the diamond cutting industry. So very positive things. Diamonds Do Good is another website that you can take a look at. The diamond industry employs millions of workers throughout the world, from artisanal mines to large-scale mines, and they really do have a number of countries whose entire economic system or their monetary system is based solely on the diamonds that they mine. So when you're doing your research, bear in mind some of the things that you see out there as marketing, and some of it takes a little bit more delving into to make the decision that's right for you.
So when you talk about, the mining, I understand you actually had the great fortune of going and touring one of these mines when you were working for the Gemological Institute of America.
Yeah, I did. That was one of the best experiences in my life.
That's
so
cool.
I was about 2004, and I was working for GIA at the time. I taught a class in Johannesburg, South Africa, and then I had the opportunity to tour the diamond mine in Kimberley. The Kimberley Diamond Mine is one of the oldest diamond mines in South Africa. I was able to go down into the mine. We got into an elevator that could carry a car, and it took us 10 minutes to get down to the lowest level that we got down to. It's built basically around the kimberlite, which is the soft rock where the diamond is found, and then there's granite around it. So that soft rock is part of that kind of volcanic pipe where we find the diamond. And when we got down there, interestingly enough, most people think going into a mine, you're like crawling around in tight spaces. We drove around in a Jeep.
Oh my God.
So, there's, what's the word I'm looking for? Their safety record was phenomenal. It took us 2 hours of safety classes before we even went down, and they said that the only casualty they'd had in over 3 years was, weirdly enough, Same type of casualty we might have up here, road rage. Someone got in a car accident.
Really?
Yes, someone got in a
Interesting.
Jeep accident down there. They recycle everything. They recycle the
everywhere.
air, they recycle the water, and because it takes so long to get up and down the shaft from the lower levels, they've built into the granite rooms where they have break rooms for people and things like that. It's a very cool place. It was one of the coolest experiences, like I said, I've ever had in my life.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And diamonds, obviously you're talking about one of the oldest diamond mine, and there's a lot of history of those diamonds becoming such a symbol of love, like we said. There are other options though. I've noticed a lot on social media lately that there are people that are kind of looking at alternative options as well. And one specifically that I've been hearing a little bit more of is moissanite. So can you tell me a little bit about what moissanite is and how is it being now called like a diamond alternative or an alternative for your engagement ring?
It in fact is a diamond alternative, and they are one of the big things that they do is they use a lot of comparisons for moissanite to diamond. But to give you a quick little history, moissanite was discovered in the late 1800s by a man named Sir Henry Moissan, and it was named after him, moissanite. He found microscopic crystals inside of a meteorite, and those meteorites, the microscopic crystals are pretty much the only natural moissanite that we find out there. So when we talk about moissanite as being an alternative, they are all lab grown. The only ones that you'll see that are in jewelry are grown in a laboratory. And that actually happened not too long ago. There are a couple different companies kind of that headed that up, but jewelers got a little bit worried at first because we have these great little diamond testers that we put on the diamond that beeps when it says it's a diamond because it's testing thermal conductivity. And moissanite has very similar thermal conductivity to diamond, so it would beep with the diamond tester. We had to learn some alternative reasons. But moissanite is doubly refractive. It's something you can visually see in a microscope if you're a trained, actually not even a trained gemologist. I've trained everyone here. They know what to look for. And not everyone has a gemologist title. Moissanite is also something that everyone talks about it being 9.5 on the Mohs scale of hardness. Well, I love it when they talk about the Mohs scale of hardness, but 0 through 10 on the scale of hardness, each and every one of those numbers is evenly spaced from one another. But when we look at actual hardness, if talc is here at 0 and diamond is here at 10 and moissanite is at 9.5, realistically, talc is here, moissanite's here, and diamond's here. There's a huge gap between 9.5 and actual 10 on the actual scale of hardness. So when it comes to hardness, that's ability to scratch, diamond is in fact the hardest substance. Nothing can cut a diamond other than a diamond. Nothing can scratch a diamond other than a diamond.
So that leads me to a question.
Okay.
We get this all the time. People say, well, if a diamond is the hardest substance known to man, how did it chip?
That is a very good question, but we have to remember hardness and durability are two different things. Hardness is resistance to scratching, durability is resistance to breaking. Diamond, although it's a very durable gemstone, it is not the most durable, and it has directional hardness, which means that it has something called perfect cleavage. If you hit it just right, in the right direction, or cleave it, it will break in two, and each side will look as if it were polished. It's that perfect. If you hit it just right, just a tiny bit off of that cleavage, or off of that perfect breaking point, you might find you could chip that diamond. It's not a common phenomena, but it does happen, and it's something to be aware of.
But aside from that, you cannot scratch it with anything but a diamond.
Correct. Which means don't put your jewelry in the jewelry box with the other diamonds because they'll scratch each other.
That's a good idea. And of course, which kind of brings us back to the beginning of what we were talking about, that diamonds being so indestructible, being that symbol of love, being that symbol of longevity. When you buy that engagement ring or you buy that special gift that was meant to symbolize a very special moment in your life, that's something that is meant to last. It's meant to be durable. It's something that's meant to be handed down then to the next generation and the next generation. What are some of the notable diamonds that we've heard of that, obviously there's historical ones that are still around?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some of the most important diamonds out there have been handed down in royalty. In fact, some countries' monetary systems have been based on just their royal gems for many, many years. Obviously, things have changed in the past century or so, but that's something that we can see. The crown jewels in England. The Cullinan is one of the largest diamonds out there. When it was originally found in the rough, it was about the size of a football. So that's a pretty big diamond, and it was only found about 15 meters down into the beginning of the mining of the Cullinan mine. So when it comes down to it, these diamonds the Cullinan was broken up into, I think, 11 major diamonds and 50 some odd minor diamonds. And there's lots of different history behind all of these diamonds. And again, they last for centuries. I always say that diamond is the only thing that you can wear 24/7 and it's not going to wear out. Your clothing will wear out. The metal around the diamond will wear out. You're going to wear out. Diamond's not going to wear out. So I kind of like that longevity that it has.
But important to note, even though you can wear a diamond 24/7, would you recommend it?
Thank you, because that's one of my sticking points there, is the fact that I hear oftentimes people say, I spend a lot of money on my jewelry, so I should be able to wear it all the time. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, yes, a diamond can probably take it, but really, you spend a lot of money, say for instance, on your engagement ring. You probably spent a lot of money on your wedding dress too, but you're not going to wear it gardening. Not going to wear it cleaning your house. So please don't wear your jewelry cleaning your house or gardening. These are things that I consider like off-roading with your jewelry. I always say the metal around your jewelry is like the tires on your car. They're going to wear down. The more you drive it, the quicker it wears down. If you take your regular tires on off-roading, you're going to ruin them. So if you do that to your jewelry, you could ruin the metal around it. And could you potentially damage your diamond a little bit? It's not an impossibility. So don't forget that. The better care you take with your jewelry, the longer not just the diamond, but the jewelry itself will last for you.
Yes, definitely. I oftentimes tell our guests that, as soon as I get home, all my jewelry comes off, because it doesn't need the abuse of all the stuff that I do when I get home. And I go home, my work hat comes off and my mom hat comes on, and I'm cleaning and doing laundry, and my jewelry doesn't need to get that kind of abuse.
And that's what I'd love to see everyone do when it comes to their jewelry. We'd have a lot less repairs here if that happened, I'd say.
So, we've touched on lab-grown diamonds. We've touched on the mining of diamonds, why diamonds are durable. We've touched on some other options like moissanite. Obviously here at Rasmussen's, we're really about relationships. We're about what it is that you're coming in for. We have all of these different options, and as you can tell, we have a tremendous amount of education and knowledge here that can help you to determine what is the right thing for you. What's right for somebody is not necessarily the right thing for somebody else, and that's why we are here as the professionals, as the experts in our industry, to help you to figure out what is the right thing for you when it comes to those really important and special decisions. So, is there anything else that you want to add when it comes to diamonds?
Well, there's a lot more I'd like to add, but I think we should probably save it for another podcast.
I think that sounds like a good plan.
All right.
Touch on quality and all that good stuff.
That's a good point.
We'll see you next time then.
Yes. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.